And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week. 10 days to go until the so-called off-year elections. Of course, we know that there really is no such thing as an off-year election because the offices up this year have significant importance to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and to other states around the Union. Most specifically, the appellate courts. We all saw what the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania did during last year's elections and what they did previously in blatantly political moves, which courts should not be doing. And so those statewide judicial races are particularly important. And there's increased focus on down-ballot elections for local offices, and this year for school boards in particular. Education is always at the core of our thinking, but right now education has been raised to new heights for a variety of reasons, most notably the role that parents should play in education. We're seeing a lot of activity, some of it spurred by Merrick Garland's ridiculous letter of a couple of weeks ago where he said that the FBI, federal law enforcement, ought to be looking into parents who have so-called terroristic tendencies and increased threats of violence, etc. He's provided no evidence of that. That came as a result of a letter from the National School Boards Association to President Biden. This week, the Pennsylvania School Boards Association, my home state, voted unanimously to get out of the National School Boards Association. I hope other states will follow suit. This big notion that parents who have something to say are somehow to be regarded as terrorists is absurd on its face and very dangerous underneath. And the issue is showing itself in one gubernatorial race this year. You know, there are a couple of races for governor in 2021, which really are predictors in some way of what the races for governor will look like in 2022 in the rest of the states that have those elections. In Virginia, which used to be a red state and has increasingly become bluer and bluer, Terry McAuliffe made a comment about the audacity of parents wanting to suggest to schools what they should teach. It has blown up in his face and has turned a race that was decidedly his into a neck-and-neck contest. We're seeing this in other places as well, where parents are saying, we want to reassert our role in the educational process. In my state of Pennsylvania, a thorough and efficient education is the constitutional right of every child. It's a birthright of every Pennsylvanian. And all of us agree that a quality education is the key to our future, not only economically, but culturally, socially, and for every fabric of our society. We all believe in a great education. And we're going to be talking about, as the Republican candidate Glenn Youngkin is in Virginia, about some of the things that will make an even greater educational system, including school choice, something I've championed from the beginning. Accountability. You know, we're always told at budget time, we need more money, more money, more money. But rarely do we hear much about more accountability. And we need to invigorate the role that parents play in the educational process, because parent involvement is really at the core of good schools at the local level. More accountability, more school choice, more curriculum options that don't involve indoctrination. They get back to teaching basics like civics, for example, and requiring students to know the Constitution before they graduate from high school are things we ought to be looking at to improve the quality of education across the country. And the world this week said farewell to General Colin Powell, the first African-American Secretary of State, a national security advisor, and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who gave his life to the service of his country. I didn't always agree with his politics, but regardless of what you thought of his politics, I always found that his 13 rules for living were particularly noteworthy. He concluded them with the last one being that perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. That was something Ronald Reagan always said, that our best days lie ahead of us, that the glass was always better than half full. I'm an eternal optimist. I hope you are too, because even in our dark days, we know that the light is ahead and that our future truly is brighter than our past. And for now, that is the best 60-ish seconds of your week.